How do you want to die? After a long battle with cancer, Lou Gehrig's disease, or quickly and peacefully? Advances in medicine have gotten really good at keeping people alive until they wish they were not. And sometimes, death is better than dying. Do you recognize her? At the age of 29, Brittany Maynard sparked a national debate after moving to Oregon with her family to end her life. Diagnosed with stage 4 terminal brain cancer and given less than 6 months to live, Brittany advocated for death with dignity. I believe that death with dignity should be a legal option for terminally ill patients throughout the United States. Death with dignity laws allow a terminally ill, mentally competent adult patient to hasten the end of their life by the self-administration of a lethal substance prescribed by a physician. A terminal illness is described as an illness or condition that cannot be cured and will ultimately lead to death, such as cancer or neurodegenerative diseases such as ALS. Terminally ill patients experience agonizing and unbearable symptoms day after day after day. These include fatigue, pain, vomiting, nausea, dyspnea, cachexia, diarrhea, constipation, delirium, and so much more. Shouldn't these patients have the right to decide for themselves when enough is enough? Shouldn't you have that right? Death with dignity is typically used as a last resort for patients as each day becomes increasingly unbearable. The underlying illness worsens, the quality of life becomes too degraded, the body is deteriorating, and the pain is unrelenting. To date, 5 states in the U.S. have legalized death with dignity laws or something similar. These states are Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Montana, and New Mexico. So why isn't death with dignity a legal option for terminally ill patients in all 50 states? What are we waiting for? The laws in Oregon, Washington, and Vermont are all very similar in regards to eligibility. They require that the patient be a resident of the given state, be 18 years of age or older, must be mentally competent, and must be diagnosed with a terminal illness that will lead to death within 6 months. In addition, the patient must be able to self-administer the lethal dose and cannot be suffering from depression or other psychological disorders. The law further requires that the physician must inform the patient of all alternatives, such as hospice and pain management options. If this concept still seems foreign to you, then you must remember, death is a natural part of life. Each and every one of us will die. Everyone you know and have ever known will die. Does that scare you? Does death with dignity scare you? As Americans, we have the freedom to choose how to live our lives. Shouldn't we also have the freedom, if possible, to choose how and when to end our lives if faced with terminal illness? What values do our freedoms and rights hold if we can't exercise them during our time of need? Why are we forced into extended misery when there's another way? When society wouldn't allow a dog to suffer the agony of a death like this, why are humans trapped in prolonged suffering without the choice to decide? We have a right to live, and we have a right to die. The law itself provides relief and peace of mind to the terminally ill. Brittany Maynard said, "I can't even tell you the amount of relief it provides me to know that I don't have to die the way that it's been described to me, that my brain tumor would take me on its own." Death with dignity is not suicide. There's a difference between a person who's dying and a person who's suicidal, Brittany said. I don't want to die. I am dying. These patients are not suicidal. They are realists. This is not the process of ending a healthy life. Rather, it is an act of compassion to hasten an inevitable and excruciatingly painful death, so that no American has to endure the torture that comes with prolonged pain and suffering when dying from a terminal illness. According to the Washington State Department of Health, in 2013, the life-ending medication was dispensed to 173 Washington residents. Of those, 119 went on to ingest the medication. Their ages ranged from 29 to 95 years old. Of them, 77% had cancer, 15% had a neurodegenerative disease, 52% were married, and 76 had at least some college education. At the time of their deaths, 86% were enrolled in hospice care, and 100% were dying horrible deaths. Death with dignity is a voluntary, humane option for the terminally ill to end their lives with dignity and without the shame and inevitable suffering. It allows the patient to decide when and how, and it gives them the choice to pass away gently and peacefully. This is our chance to take the control away from the terminal illness and give it back to the patients, to allow them to exercise their divine right to choose what is best for themselves. Would you want the choice? Would your family members want a choice? I urge you all to learn more about Death with Dignity at www.deathwithdignity.org and to join the movement to have Death with Dignity laws passed throughout the United States. Open your minds to a conversation that is difficult, and remember, sometimes death is better than dying.